What's going on? Welcome back to another episode of the MindShare PodCast. This show is sponsored by Kids Keep in Touch Systems, a two-time international award-winning marketing suite for sales professionals, as well as REM Real Estate Magazine, Canada's premier monthly magazine for real estate professionals. Learn more about our sponsor by visiting my site, mindshare101.com. And while you're there, be sure to download our free copy of my book, The Ultimate Marketing Bundle. This is our 31-page ebook. It is complete with the 90-day social media content calendar, all of it to help you build more mind shares so that you can get more market share. Of course, while you're there, learn more about our one-to-one coaching and our keynote speaking. Today's episode is number 245. From Main Street to e-commerce, he has saved and scaled over 1,800 plus small businesses since launching in 2020. How? Well, his magic ingredient isn't actually magic at all. It is called the SMART Blueprint, and it is a 5-step surefire process for business owners. Beyond his portfolio of growing companies, he is an advisor for 500 brands across the U.S. and Canada and has been featured on the Today Show, the Steve Harvey Show, Forbes, and the New York Post. He has been awarded 2 different Wicked Smaht Awards due to his innovative business strategies and multiple 2 Comma Club Awards. Companies he has worked with include Pepsi, Nike, Nescafé, Discovery Digital Networks, and many smaller brands. He created and developed his outside-the-box business system out of poverty and frustration. Joining me on this episode of the MindShare Podcast is serial entrepreneur, Mr. Adam Lyons. Adam, welcome to the MindShare Podcast.
Thank you ever so much for having me, bud. Good to see you again.
Hey, first I want to know how was I when I pronounced the what was that? Smaht Awards.
You got that right. Wicked.
I tried to nail that with the accent.
There's actually a whole collection of them right here. That's these guys.
Well, congrats, man.
Yeah, so it was the War Room Mastermind, which no longer exists, but it was one of the very first business masterminds, and they wanted to recognize the fact that the people in the room were probably the people most qualified to judge advice, because it was a group of 8, 9, 10-figure business owners. So they had a competition where you bring a case study of something you've done that improved revenue or improved systems with all the evidence, all the statistics, all the numbers, and the people in the room would vote for the idea that was the most wicked smart. And the idea came from a guy from Boston, which hence the name of it.
Okay, got it.
And of all the awards I've won, I've got ClickFunnels and Vistage. I got a master's in business. Which probably should have been more important. But the Wicked Smaht ones mean the most because they're by names of people you would know. Chris Voss voted for me in one of these.
Chris has been on this show before,
right? Exactly. So so these are real business owners who sit and listen to a 5-minute presentation where they see all the evidence and they say, yeah, this is it. And I have won multiple times. I've got a whole bunch of them, and I'm proud. I always came first or second. I've never scored anything lower than first or second every time I've entered. So.
Well, here's the thing. Now, I remember you and I met back in Dallas a few months ago, and I can vividly remember this because we all got to dinner. You weren't there to begin with, but we all got to dinner. We sat down. We're doing our thing, and then in comes this dude with this wicked cool pair of shoes. Yeah, bro, I still remember the shoes. But sits down in front of almost right in front of me. I think your wife sat down right in front of us as well, or maybe she went a little bit down the way of the table, but it's as if you took over the conversation. And no, I say that with completely complimentary. You came in, there was an energy. There was, we were howling, we were laughing the whole time. You were telling stories about the battles that you're going through. Just like we were just doing before we went live here. And we sat there. It was awesome conversation, right? And we were there for our buddy, Mr. Steve Sims, the real life Wizard of Oz. We were there for a speakeasy in Dallas. He's the man. But as we did that, I remember how you made an impact on the room itself.
Thanks.
Absolutely. And I guess the question I got there, right, is how important is it? And I don't know that you did this on purpose. In my mind, this was just who Adam Lyons is.
Yeah.
And I was getting to meet you firsthand, but I thought it funny, charismatic, intelligent. when we're talking, and today we're talking about the SMART blueprint, right? Like our blueprint for success. And we're, our audience is salespeople, realtors, small businesses. How important is it to be magnetic with people when you walk in a room? Like, do you do that? Do you turn that on purpose? Is that just who you are?
It's a good question, and I'll answer it very simply.
Yep.
I don't make choices every day based on who I am. I make choices every day based on the person I want to be in the future. And by holding myself to a standard that I have not yet achieved forces me into being a better person. So I don't walk into a room thinking, oh, I'm going to be magnetic, or I'm going to do a bit, or I'm going to do something. I walk into the room thinking, I'm only here for a couple of hours.
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to improve the lives of everyone in this room in the fastest way possible? How much value can I add to each individual person? So I've got to get to know them rapidly. I've got to share a relatable story with them so they know who I am through a story, not through bragging. From that story, they should feel comfortable sharing a story from them. I can then take that story and go through my bank of people I've helped in the past to identify common problems they're probably facing now or have just faced. And then I can say, oh my God, with that thing you're doing, did you ever struggle with X? And they will either say, yes, I just solved it, which is great. It's a good talking point. Or, oh my God, I'm going through that now.
Yeah.
And then I get to say, if you have time, I got another story for you about a time I helped somebody with that. And here's what I told them to do. And then I give them that advice for free. It's not a lead in. It's like I said, it's not a bit. I'm not trying to sell, just to help. And they're like, oh my God, that's genius. I wish I'd known that. And I'm not making it up. It's from something I've done or have worked with. And they go, thank you. And then they're never going to forget me, ever. And I am fulfilling my purpose of helping as many people as possible without, spending money. I'm not doing charity. I'm actually helping. And you make such an impact on someone that in the future, one of two things happens. They either say, hey, we need help. We should talk to that guy. Or they go the other way and they say, you know what? That guy was so helpful. I want to help him. And then they say, can I have you on my podcast? Or can I tell my people about you? And that's the world I want to live in, is where that happens naturally all the time. And so
okay. Well, yeah, because a lot of us will walk into a lot of us. And again, I'm with you on that. Oftentimes we'll walk in and understand we're about to be with people. Let's make sure we're smiling, making eye contact with everybody we can, show that we're a kind person. That in of itself will open up the opportunity for conversation.
Right. And I go a step, because I'm an introvert.
Well, that's what I was about to say. We talked a lot about that, the
Yeah.
introvert, the extrovert, and how some of us who seem and appear so extroverted to so many people, we are probably the biggest introverts there are. And so it's almost like just before you walk in that door, it's like, take the breath, walk in the door, turn on, let's go.
It's going to take me more energy than I want to spend just walking in the room.
Yeah.
If I'm going to do that, I'm going to crank it up.
Yeah.
To a significantly high level. And actually, this is a really good point. I literally just made a separation from somebody very important in my life. And that separation happened because this weekend I was supposed to go and visit them in Vegas. And I recognized I didn't want to put in that amount of energy into that relationship anymore. And it's because it become lopsided. I was putting in a lot of the energy. It wasn't balanced. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this. I'm so introverted that even somebody I've known for a while, I'm like, this doesn't add up anymore. I'm not willing to do it. I'm not going. And they were like, hey, if you don't come, like, this is the end of it. Like, that's the end. We're not going to do anything together anymore. And I was like, yeah, I'm well aware of the repercussions, but my introversion is winning. And this comes down to one of my favorite rules that one of my mentors told me, actually, which I love, which is there is no yes. There is only no and hell yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And so if I'm that dinner, when I went there, because I thought about not going to the dinner, because I was like, oh, I don't really want to go to a meal. I turned up late because I'd just driven in from Austin. It was like a 4-hour drive. I was like, I don't want to do any of this. So I just thought, am I a hell yes to Steve Sims? Because I didn't know anyone else in the room. And I was like, I am a hell yes to Steve Sims. So therefore, if I'm going to walk in that room, I'm not going to go, well, I'll try and make an effort. No, I'm going to go in at 120% like always, help everyone in the room, stay until the end, and then go home and cry in my bed like a sad puppy who burned himself out, right? You know what I mean? Like,
well,
then it's
once
like,
the energy is all gone, right?
Right,
Have you got,
exactly.
Listen, that is a incredibly strong mindset. We do have some of our VIP MindShare masters who are within our coaching community that are watching us in the VIP room today. And one of them was asking, who is Adam's mentor? Is there anybody specific that you look up to? I'm going to take a stab and say you probably have a long list of that.
Spot on. I had a massive list, and actually, it's really good. I made a Facebook post about this and Instagram post actually today about this. I've spent the last 2 months cutting people out of my life who were once very important and have now I've either outgrown them or there is an alignment alteration. So I've gone from having like 7 mentors to now I would really say there's only 3.
Okay.
And 2 of them are nerds. No, all 3 of them are nerds. That's an insult to the third one. They're all nerds. So one of them is the owner of the business that is next door to my house.
Okay.
So I live next to a theme park, and it's a private theme park, and it's owned by a guy who made a lot of money in the telecommunications industry, was CEO of a big company, sold his shares, quit the job, took his money, built a theme park. And
the kids must love that.
Oh my! It's a medieval theme park. You kidding me?
Right? You must love that.
It's open 2 months a year. The rest of the time it's closed because he doesn't want to be open more than that. And he makes $2 million in 2 months, and he's got tons of savings. I mean, like, he's an amazing guy. He doesn't work. It's run for him. He just turns up and dresses in costume. It's great.
Beautiful.
But he's one of my business mentors, and he's phenomenal. And my other 2 mentors, they're more nerdy. One of them. We do an event together, like a nerdy event. One of them, he's just a mentor for sporty things, anything physical and active. So I like listening to him about mechanical biomechanics, like how your body moves. So I use him for that, and he's really good for that. So again, it's different mentors and things. And the last one, he's a retired military admiral, and I only know him through this game that we play together. And every so often I'll ask him for advice on something. And suddenly he's not just a dude that I play a game with. And I'm aware that I'm talking to a military admiral who is incredibly experienced in life, who's
talking about mindset, right?
Yeah, like late 50s. Yeah. I mean, he got pulled out of retirement recently by the military because they need him for some stuff. And we'll be like dealing with like a complicated like game thing, like it's a board game, and it'll be really stressful, and we're trying to solve it. And he goes, I can't wait to get back to saving the world next week after all this drama. Like
that's a video game, right?
Huge military politics, right? But I hit him as well, and I think this is a common mistake that people make. If somebody is saying, "Let me be your mentor," don't pick that person. Don't do that.
Okay, why?
Because that person is looking for people to follow him. Your best mentor doesn't want anyone following. They're too busy doing their own thing. They're too good at it. You want a mentor who's already been there, done that, and won. They've already got the trophy.
Yep.
And they have nothing better to do than play silly games and live life. Those people do not have a bunch of mentees underneath them. What they do have is a lot of spare time. And they want to hang out with people that want to do stupid stuff with them and play games. But when you sit and play a game with them and you have fun, whatever the game, chess, I don't care what the game is, that person will have all the time in the world for you because you're enabling them to have fun. And suddenly, it doesn't cost any money. And the advice you get is given to someone who they know they're going to spend the rest of their life playing games with.
Right.
And they're going to have to look at you in your face if it fails and say, I'm sorry your life's falling apart because of the advice I gave you. So they won't fail you. Their advice will be 100% spot on accurate because they want to get you back into the game. And maybe it's pickleball, maybe it's tennis. I don't care who it is. But when you've got someone that you play a game with on a regular basis and you guys are good friends and they like playing games with you, their advice, and again, but they've got to be an expert. It can't just be a generic person. Pickleball court, right? It's got to be somebody who is really has won what they've done. That person, it's over. Their advice is spot on. And so George is my next door neighbor. And George is like a perfect example. He dresses like a knight. He does mounted combat and jousting in his 50s. He's 6'3", works out. He's huge. He's got like 4 kids. Just a great guy, but has graduated from Harvard with a master's in business.
Right.
And just done tons of mergers and acquisitions and corporate structuring. I mean, God, this guy's so smart. And I ask him maybe one question every 2 months or so. And it's great. And one of the best decisions I ever made was a year ago. I've been asking him for 7 years, but a year ago, we started a really small business together because he's got his property that he only uses 2 months here. I was like, can I rent it for a week?
Yeah.
And he went, no, I can. And we can go into business together on the thing you want to do because I don't want you to rent. I want a piece of it because he's smart. And so we started this little business together. And like year one, we profited 75 grand between 3 of us that are doing it.
Yeah.
And which isn't a lot. And I like being real with numbers, but
yeah.
I didn't work. I didn't do anything. All I did was turn up to some meetings, give some advice. We generated, I think it was like 700 grand year one for 5 days of this event being open on his property. We're just renting his property. And we got 25K profit each, the 3 of us. And he's like, what do you want to do with the money? I was like, let's just leave it in the pot and, keep it going. Yeah. And it's really cool because of that, I don't pay him for advice.
Yeah.
I just say, hey, with this business that we've got together, what would be a great way to hire new staff? And he's like, oh, here's a staff SOP. I'm like, thank you. By the way, I'm going to copy and paste that into every other company I have. And of course he's going to give me his best stuff because we have a business together.
Amazing. So here, as we talk about advice then, okay, because I know that, we spawned from this wicked dinner where we had a shit ton of fun to the next day where it came down to business.
Yep.
All of a sudden up you come. And it's like, oh, wait a second. I was hanging with this guy last night. Okay, let's see what's going on. And excited to hear what you were talking about. But what I loved was you came up and I think I recall this correctly, but you basically looked at everybody and said, so what do you want to talk about? And everybody's thinking, you don't have something prepared? But I loved the approach because it became a very real, very constructive conversation. And I say conversation because although you were, quote unquote, presenting, teaching, advising, mentoring, it really was a conversation. But you said to us, if I got this right, you said we could talk about one of 2 things. We could talk about buying businesses. We could talk about making a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
Did I get that one right? Right.
Yeah.
He basically said, who wants to do each? And collectively the room was like, yeah, we'll do both. In this case today, though, when I say again, our audience are salespeople, our audience are small business owners, they're entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I want to go down the road with a shit ton of money.
Perfect.
And if we look at where we're at right now, where are you located right now?
So I'm in Austin, Texas. I have a ranch about an hour east.
Okay, cool. So I'm personally in Toronto, but we've got, an audience that's listening, let's say North America wide, whatever. But, and I don't know the landscape of Austin right now when it comes to the finances, the market, whatnot, but I can tell you up here, house prices are starting to come down slightly based on the fact that interest rates are way up. Gas prices are way up. Groceries are way up. People are having a tough time affording. If you go back to the events of what happened a few years ago, that thing that was going on, people made a shit ton of money when it came to real estate. People spent a shit ton of money. And I do foresee that we're going to have a market that's going to change shortly because there's going to be people with renewal comes up for a mortgage. They're not going to be able to afford that renewal only for the fact that they completely over leveraged themselves when it came to buying a house in the first place. Now, that's all setting the stage, but that's current market situation right now. Things are a little bit quieter. We're coming off the summertime lulls. People are distracted with having fun. And now we're getting to that point where we want to finish the back half of this year, back quarter of this year, back third on a real high note and take that right into obviously next year. So again, as we look at the blueprint for success, what can we do? I want to go down that road with you today. And I don't know where the question is, but it's almost like, what is the SMART blueprint? And can you take us down now that we understand who's the audience, what's sort of the stage has been set? What are the 5 steps? What can we do here to help people make that, that shit ton of money?
So a couple of things. I want to honor the fact a minute ago I said, if someone says, let me be your mentor, don't listen to him.
Yeah.
I'm going to double down on it.
Okay.
So my website, thesmartblueprint.com, if you scroll down to step 1, it's not going to ask you for your login. It's not going to ask you to give me your email or contact information. Instead, you're going to receive an entire step-by-step system to build a business from scratch. So it's thesmartblueprint.com. Sorry. Yep. So no problem. So thesmartblueprint.com, you got to scroll down to step 1. It will say start the tutorial, and it's a massive blog post. My favorite testimonial of that blog post is we hired an editor to edit it. So if there are any editing errors, it's his fault. And he halfway through was like, I should be doing this for my freelance stuff. And I'm not kidding. I have the testimonial. So he copied the things he was writing about, or editing, and he made $70,000 in a week using our system. It was the best testimony we got because we hadn't even launched it. And it was the editor.
Wow.
And I'm saying that it's all free. You don't give me your information. I don't know who you are. You just go there and get it for free. And it breaks the whole SMART blueprint down. So I want to start there because that way you got it. You got everything you need.
Cool.
But let's talk about the
depression. Sorry, Adam. And for those that are listening to this through a podcast platform, not watching us live, again, it's thesmartblueprint.com.
Yeah, and it's free. And I do this when I go on, there's no affiliate link. It's just a free resource because I truly believe the advice that's there is very good. It's real. It's what I wish I'd had. And I don't want to gateway it. I want it to just be real. So in answer to your question about 2020,
yep,
we are going to discuss Kellogg's cornflakes.
Okay.
During the Depression, because Kellogg's cornflakes, I think we all agree, is the #1 cereal brand. Good luck on naming another one, by the way. Unless you have a specific cereal you love from some other company, most people can't even name a second cereal brand.
I throw Cheerios just like that. That kind of comes up for me, but I'm with you.
I love Cheerios. But if you look, who makes Cheerios? Right? It's
funny. We're not even saying Kellogg's. We're like,
right, exactly. General Mills. There you go. So that's the other one. Right, and that's my point. We know Kellogg's, but I can't even think of General Mills, right? So, and this is what is so powerful about Kellogg's. Kellogg's was built during the Depression, the Great Depression in the 1930s.
Did you watch Peaky Blinders, by the way?
I have not watched it. I don't watch
I have just started it. It is, sorry, total sidebar. I'm not going down there. It is awesome. Nice. Keep going.
So yeah, I try not to watch too much TV. The TV I watch is with my kids. I watch kids shows. But yeah, so Kellogg's was built in the 1930s. The previous cereal company that had the control was Post cereal. In a depression, a recession, anything like that, I firmly believe there is not a lack of money, but the money moves somewhere else. Money doesn't vanish. It changes direction. Think of it like a river, and suddenly the current goes in the other direction. And you got people waiting for the water to arrive, but there is a new river that is now going somewhere else due to a dam that got built, and it's never going back that way. The perfect example of this was in 2020. Amazon's revenue went through the roof. Because what happened was the pattern we had all seen. Brick and mortar businesses were on the decline. Online retailers were on the up.
Yep.
And COVID sped up that process. It was happening already, but it's like disposable cameras.
Yeah.
They were always going to vanish eventually. And then they did. Right? And it just happened at a certain point. Every business that was brick and mortar, or almost every business, struggled unless they had an online strategy. if you didn't have an online strategy, you're gone. So like a lot of people are like, Neiman Marcus, obviously completely, went under during COVID. Did you ever go to NeimanMarcus.com? No, because they didn't have an online strategy. They survived on people going to shopping malls. So it was always going to collapse. It just sped it up. And we've seen this in every depression, every recession. Some of the biggest companies in the world came out of them. So in preparation for a change, you can always see the signs. If you're in a business and you're hoping people are going to still go to you, but you're in a declining industry, you are one event away from that industry disappearing overnight. Your job is to adapt. So a good example of this is if you're resisting AI.
Okay.
There will be an event.
We just, you remember Atiba?
Yeah.
Atiba was just on the show recently talking about that. Manoj was just on the show talking about that.
Right. If you're resisting AI, you are 24 hours away from destruction in the wrong event. It's just a question of when that event happens.
Okay, so right there, I'm going to use that as a jumping off point because we've talked about AI over the past few shows. Those gentlemen have been on with us. What would you say right now to, like, again, a salesperson, an entrepreneur right now? How would they take advantage of AI right now?
Okay, so really good example.
Is that as simple as ChatGPT? Like, seriously, like, obviously,
let's go a step further. And rather than a salesperson, I'll give you something that's real. Is if you're a content editor.
Okay.
AI gets better and better at content editing every day.
Yeah.
We are one good event away from, and that event might just be a new release of something, right? From content editing jobs just disappearing overnight. Now it's all done via AI. Sales is another one. Sales is a good AI away from disappearing forever. Because
really? But really, I know you say it, so you obviously believe it, but between two guys here that literally, again, when it comes to going in, talking to a room of people and doing our thing, like, I believe in that rapport, that relationship is massive.
It is.
That human-to-human connection.
Totally massive.
Do we really think AI can take that over?
And that's why it
can play a role.
That's why you have such a good relationship with your Amazon representative, right? Every time you buy things off Amazon, you love that salesperson at Amazon. You're always talking to them.
That's my nemesis. My wife at Amazon. I think I'm a shipping warehouse for Amazon right now.
You're basically the same as the guys that are saying, I'm going to need to meet face to face. Zoom isn't going to work.
Right.
Or I'm going to need a phone call. Text message isn't going to work. No, sales will be replaced. There will always be room for an artist in the same way that vinyl music still exists. But if you're building your music career off of your vinyl album sales, unless you manufacture vinyl albums for everyone and that's the model, you're done. You're a dinosaur.
Okay, so what can we do with AI now then? If I'm a salesperson, and again, the same way I said to Manoj, I'm like, I'm not the most techie dude in the world. I can work it all, whatnot, but I also don't have all the patience in the world to do all this research. I got to go out and sell and feed my family. And
everything you said was what every brick and mortar person said before COVID until they had to do it or die.
Okay.
Yeah, there's never time for it. There's never time for progress.
Love that.
You make time for it and you do it. Here's a good example. The average freelance salesperson is getting between 30 to 10%. If I optimize my sales systems well enough that I could survive on 2% commission via AI, I could go to every single company that uses humans and gives 10 to 30% and say, my AI will take over your sales and I'll only charge you 2% of every sale. You don't have to fire anyone you've got. Let me compete with them. My AI will beat them within 30 days. And when they do, my only request is keep them as long as you want to keep them, but keep sending me as many leads as they get. And you're welcome to send me more than them if you want. That's a very strong offer. Now, I haven't developed that AI because that's not what I want to be doing. But it's a really good example of if somebody built a business like that, they could start sweeping industries and taking out every single salesperson. Now, AI isn't there yet, in my opinion.
I was going to say that because in my mind, I think to myself, I go, yeah, you can do some automation. You could create some funnels. You could do some offers. You could create landing page, but it's still on the end user, the person on the other side that's got to click the buttons to make it work.
It's a bit more.
We know that the chatbots came out a number of years ago that were pretty intelligent having these conversations with us. But the reality is,
forget the chatbots. How about this?
Yep.
We know from QVC days that people are most likely to buy between the hours of 12 and 4 a.m. What about an AI? They already can do this in email that monitors whether you're on your phone or not between 12 and 4. And then doesn't message you to sell you anything, until between 12 and 4, where it then sends a message that says, hey, you up? And you respond, yeah. And it's like, it's a classic sales message. I couldn't sleep either. I was just wondering, do you still need help with X? And you're like, every day. And it's like, hey, listen, I want to send you a short little video of somebody I helped solve that problem. I just want you to have a look at it and just tell me if you think that would work for you or not. This is a basic chat GPT if-then script, right? You send them the testimonial, they look at it, and they go, yeah, that might work. And you go, look, I'll do you a special offer. It's $1 to sign up right now. We'll take you through the process, make it work. If it doesn't work within 7 days, you don't pay anything else. If it does, the fee is XYZ. It's $1 to try it out. We can set up a call tomorrow and get it going. That's strong. Now, is it going to convert as well as your relationship with John, who you've known for 15 years? No.
Right.
But you could send that to 20 million people.
This is true, and then you can get your conversion either way.
And get your 2%.
Okay, but this is not in place yet.
But the technology exists.
The technology exists. So now it's a matter of somebody who has the know-how to make that happen, to put that in place.
No one's built it yet. And this is where it gets into, this is fun, like talking about my mentors. Yeah. Do I understand that would work? Yes. Could I build that? Yes. Do I want to do it? No, it doesn't interest me. Okay. But have I automated my sales processes? Absolutely.
Now, is that part of the smart blueprint? Is that one step to it? I mean, obviously we want people to go there to get it. Giving people, you know what I mean? Like,
so the smart blueprint is a way of thinking to think of ideas like this.
Okay.
So one of the components of smart blueprint is there are only 10 business models, and we outline all 10.
Yep.
And then we show you how you can just add that to your industry. So what I just did then.
Is there something there that fits for the real estate, for a realtor?
Yeah, for anything, for absolutely anything. But that little sales script, like, think about this. As a realtor, for example, like, because I consulted for a bunch of real estate firms. I was working with a really cool firm in Nebraska. Actually, we just came to the end of our contract, which is really cool. But great guys. We're doing 440 million in revenue, Berkshire Hathaway in Nebraska. So I was working with. And what was really cool about them is they had a lot of realtors that lost the money. And one of the things that we said was replace them with AI. If you dropped the bottom 50% of your realtors, just let them go and replace the bottom 50% with AI, which has no cost. If it picks up even 30% of the sales they had, it's profitable. Whereas these guys are making sales and losing you money because of the marketing, the advertising, the office space, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Keep the top 50%, but the bottom 50% may as well just go. But that's 50% of all realtors getting fired overnight.
And again, you're saying this technology is not out there. Well, the technology is there. Nobody's
the technology's there.
To do it yet.
Most people haven't started building it yet because we're in the early adoption phase of AI still. AI really only became popular October last year, and people are still coming to terms with it. You got to give it 2 years to reach market maturity, maybe 3. But in 2 to 3 years, most salespeople will be gone.
Do you believe that? Do you believe the realtors are going to be obsolete in 2 to 3 years?
No, not realtors.
Okay.
Because AI, I think of AI like Photoshop. AI doesn't replace the artist.
Mm-hmm.
AI is a tool that the right artist can use that separates them from a generic artist that doesn't use Photoshop.
Okay.
And if you do not use the tool that speeds you up, makes you more efficient, makes you better, then you're going to become obsolete. So I'd say as a realtor, you've got about 2 to 3 years to start implementing AI. Shrink, if you're a real estate brokerage, shrink your team down and just keep the best ones and make them use AI and be more efficient.
Okay, so I come back to now, because I know there's a lot of people going, oh, so what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Like, what would that use of AI be right now if the sales side of that tool is not there yet?
Okay, so I'll tell you something. This exists right now. You could do this right now.
Yep.
You could go to Seamless. Do you know Seamless, the software?
I don't.
So Seamless.ai is one of my favorite AI tools. Seamless is a list of every single staff member in any company anywhere in the world, from founder down to mail person. If you have a corporate email address, phone number, what have you, Seamless has your information. Now, before Seamless, a company like ZoomInfo, which does a similar kind of thing, the fee would be 80 grand a year. Seamless is 3 grand a year.
Okay.
So we now got a piece of software. Why would anyone pay for ZoomInfo at 80K when you can get Seamless for 3? Maybe ZoomInfo is a bit better, but not, 87,000 better.
Okay.
So now you've got 77,000. So now you've got Seamless. You can get people's contact information, right? So if I'm a realtor, if I own a real estate brokerage, I'm going to use the Smart Blueprint. Step 1 of the Smart Blueprint is staff. So I'm going to get my staff members and I'm going to say, okay, you guys, you're going to do some market research, which is the second part of the Smart Blueprint. So now I'm going to do market research. You're going to contact everyone that's ever bought a home and you're going to ask them what they do for a living. And we're going to identify what company they're in or what kind of company, what industry, and what they do. I don't care what real estate company you're in the world. I was a realtor for 2 years in the UK, so I understand this.
Yep.
You're going to see a graphical pattern, and you're going to be able to say, okay, 40% of our buyers are all this profile. They work within these 3 industries. They're within this age range. This is who they are. Well, on Seamless, we can search by job title and area. I don't need people to walk into my office to tell me they're going to buy a home anymore. I know that 40% of my buyers match a very specific personality type and have a very specific job. Now I can contact them directly.
Because you've got this list from this.
I've got a list.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got an absolute list. And I probably know what those kind of properties those people buy. So I'm already really strong. So let's go a step further. I'm going to have ChatGPT write me a cold message to reach out to those people. I don't have to write it. ChatGPT does it for me. Mm-hmm. I will get an AI auto emailer to identify when they're in their inbox and make sure they receive it when they're in their inbox. I will tell ChatGPT to write a message that goes to a cold person that's never heard from me before, where I tell them that I've got a property for sale, and I want to. Are they interested in seeing it? Or maybe you go for sellers and be like, hey, I'm looking for properties for sale. My research has said that you probably own your home and you might be interested. Well, suddenly I can hit every property, every person who probably has a property for sale in a single blow in a single message. Now that's some serious canvassing, well beyond what anybody else can do. Can take their data, create a custom audience in Facebook or in Google Ads, let AI run the Google Ads for me to optimize it. I mean, anyone.
And then it's not just about the one touch point now. It's obviously about ongoing follow-up. I remember this was something that we talked about on regular as well when we first met back there. But you were harping on the follow-up, how important that was as well, though.
Yeah, and this is real. Everything I'm saying you can do today exists.
Yeah. Most
realtors just haven't done it because, like you said, it's effort. They don't want to do it yet. They're still doing their old system.
It was that the sort of 80-20 rule that you had talked about in a sort of recent post that you were mentioning, sort of around the effort that people are putting in?
Yeah, like most people don't put anywhere near the amount of effort they need to in order to succeed. Because of that, you're running in a race where everybody else is casually sauntering. If you're willing to jog, you're going to win.
Yeah,
you don't have to work hard. My biggest fear in life is that everybody decides to start working hard, and then I have to really work hard, and that's scary. I'm so happy to jog while everyone else is casually sauntering. But dear Lord, if everyone starts jogging and I've got to run or heaven forbid sprint, I'd quit. Right? I'd just get a job. But you just got to put in a little bit more effort than the next person. Here's a good example. So I went away for a week. You know this. I was away for a week, and I came back to my business. And one of the things that I did before I left is I had this huge project that I had to get done. And there's 2 ways to go about it as a business owner. One is we're going to put the project off until we get back. The other thing is what the average person won't do, which is what I did. I said to my team, hey, I got this project. It's not really outlined very well, and we don't really know what we're doing with it. Launch it while I'm gone. And my whole team were like, what? I was like, good luck, gentlemen and ladies. You can do this. And I went on vacation and turned off my phone and email. No internet, no phone. I was camping, nothing. So I came back a week later and I saw 3 days worth of, this is terrible. We don't know what we're doing. This is bad. And then a whole bunch of money came in because they fixed it. They did the thing. And I'm back at work this week. It's Wednesday. I technically came back Monday. I took Monday off. And then I decided to take Tuesday off as well. And today's Wednesday, and I'm back doing stuff like this, but I actually have also decided to not meet with my staff. So my team are trying to meet me every day to talk about what's going on. And I said to them, I was like, we're not going to do that. And they're like, what do you mean we're not going to do that? I was like, I'm having a meeting tomorrow about going through every system in our company and overhauling it and looking at where we can put AI in, where we can streamline things, build better systems. And until I have that meeting, I'm not going to tell you guys anything, because I've got nothing better to tell you. And you guys are clearly capable of making money without me right now. So you do your own thing. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great. And because you're doing your own thing, instead of me coming back to work, I'm going to redesign all our systems with AI and with as much automation as possible. And then I'm going to come back to you maybe Friday or Monday next week, or Wednesday next week, actually, because I'm away. And I'll give you the new systems, which you guys can then run with. And my team looked at me like I was nuts. And I was like, this thing that I did is something the average person won't do. The average person is not going to go on vacation, hand over new tasks to people without any explanation of how to do it, to let them figure it out and play with my company. Oh no, right. But again, I'm not dumb. My revenue, I'm smart with it. I use it in property investments that gives me renewable revenue. Like if everything in my company collapsed, I would live off my properties for a very long time comfortably. Yeah. What's the worst they do? Tank my company? Okay, I'll build a new one or buy a new one. Like there's so many solutions. I'm just not worried about it. And so I just let it happen so that I could see what my company would do. And they sank, and then they floated, and they started swimming. And now they're swimming. I don't have to go back to work.
Right, exactly. They've been empowered. They can do this. So when you say like walk away, you're going to redesign things, come back, and this is like a few days later. It's easy to say that. It's another thing to sit down and literally pull out the pen or open up the laptop or roll up the sleeves and get dirty with it. What does that look like to you? Like do you sit down by yourself in a room, start hitting up Google and going, what platform should I be using, and like what's going to talk to each other?
Are you familiar with the Disney rooms?
Disney rooms?
Yeah. Okay, you'll like this. So Disney invented the underwater video camera.
Okay.
Because they were making animal documentaries and they wanted to film a different type. So they needed to film underwater.
Okay.
And so Disney has a method for innovation. They call it the Imagineers. It's a system for inventing things.
Yep.
And I stole it, and I do the same thing. So the idea is the first room is the dream room. And in the dream room, reality doesn't exist. The only
is this in your world? Is this a physically like a piece of paper, an Excel spreadsheet?
Disney, it's 3 rooms. They have a room, right? For me, it's meetings, 3 meetings.
Okay.
So we do the dream meeting. In the dream meeting, we have whiteboards, pens, and I bring in all the people whose opinions who I value. So I bring in my wife. I will potentially bring in like my head of creativity. I don't always bring him in, funny enough, because sometimes he gets distracted, and I'm like, I don't want him to run. But sometimes I bring him in. And so I'll bring in everybody that I want to be involved in that creativity. No rules exist, no logic exists. If we could do anything, what would we do? And we invent new things that don't exist. Wouldn't it be cool if there were robots that served lunch every day? All right. Doesn't matter what it is.
Write it down.
The more ridiculous, the better, right? Like imagine if none of us ever came to work and we just tuned in with our minds via and we could just visualize things. All right.
Well, this is probably kind of like how Elon decided to like land a rocket on a platform in the middle of the water, right? It's like,
Absolutely.
well, we can do it. NASA looked and says like, you're nuts. And he went, we'll see.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, okay. I got you.
And that's the dream room. And you write it all out until you look at it and go, oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Can't happen. That'd be cool.
Yep.
And then you go and take a break, go get dinner. Do not talk about it anymore. Then you take the outcome of the dream room. That's now your project brief. Now make that happen.
Is that room 2 project?
Which is the logistical room.
Okay.
What do we have to do logistically to make
this actually happen?
All right. Well, we're gonna have to get some experts from MIT to help out with the robots. Okay. So one of the visions is everyone's just sitting at home imagining together. Okay. How can we connect via imagination? Maybe that's VR. All right. Write down VR.
Mm-hmm.
Put it all down. And then in the logistics room, get on Google. Does this exist? Has anyone done this? Go on YouTube. Has anyone made a video of this happening? What's some new technologies that do this? Is there any software that does this? Does it already exist? Can we steal it? Can we rip it? Can we modify something that already exists? Has somebody made this on bubble.io? Is anyone attempting to do this right now? Mess around. Do I know someone that's done this? Pick up the phone. Hey, John, have you done this? If you were going to do this, how would you do it? I'll ask my kids, hey, have you guys ever seen any TikTok video of somebody doing this? My kid's like, yeah, of course. Great. Tell me how it works.
Yep.
Right. So just anyone that maybe has watched a video or put it on Facebook. Anyone know anyone that's done blah, 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 blah. And now we go, okay, this exists. Or we can do a version of it. We can get close to it. All right, great. Let's go away. Let's go and have lunch. Third meeting, the critique room.
Ah, implementation. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Nasty people. People are like, this is shit. I'm like, all right, we're going to use these logistics to achieve this outcome. What do you think? I'll never work. Love it. Why not? Because of this, because of this, because of this, because of this. Okay.
Now figure out those problems.
How would you solve that if you were going to? It can't be solved. Is there any solution to it? No. Nothing. Okay. Got it. What's the closest I could get to it? You could do this. Okay. Then you go back to the dream room. All right. No new ideas.
Yep.
Based on the critique and the logistics, how close to our original idea can we get? Do we still want to do it?
There you go. And then it's into implementation.
And then back into logistics until you end up in critique. And you've nailed it. You just keep going through the 3.
Right.
Until when you're in the critique room, they
People
go,
like, this is fucking beautiful.
You could do it, but I wouldn't want to. Great. That's good enough. Because they're never going to be like, go. They're going to be like, it's a lot of effort. I wouldn't.
Yeah. There's still something new to be coming up. And now, like, there's nothing else actually popping up.
They got no other complaints beyond they wouldn't do
it. This in of itself, because use this term in a post, a Jedi mind tricks.
Mm-hmm.
This in of itself is a Jedi mind trick right here, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because you've now innovated. You now have something that nobody else is going to do. And this is how in our company we continue. Like I have a mastermind, and I tell everyone in my mastermind, I'm like, what you get when you like, I charge 50 grand for a year.
Yep.
I'm like, the only thing I'm going to promise you is at the end of the year, you'll start thinking like me, and you will come up with these weird, wacky ideas. But one of them will make you 50 grand, and you got a year of them. You'll make your 50 grand back. That's not even a question. Most of the time, you're going to make back a lot more. But a wacky idea will make you 50 grand.
Dude, this is, as we talk about the Smart Blueprint, and we haven't gone through the entirety details of it because people are going to have to go to thesmartblueprint.com to figure it out. But, now everybody tuned in, you can see why Adam is here today, right? Like the mind goes into crazy places. He's incredibly creative. This is wicked stuff. Now, the one thing, and we really can't spend a ton of time on this, but the one thing that was really evident when you and I first met, and you've actually brought it up a few times today through the fabric of today's conversation, but was the importance of family and your children and how much effort you put towards them. And I know, we all sit here and we say, number one, but in the short period of time that we've spoken, the conversation we've had, it always comes to light for how much time and effort you put into family and your kids and what, how that's so crucial. Yet here you are with multiple businesses, doing a whole bunch of different things, all sorts of crazy ideas, taking time for different battles. And I mean, business to fun to you name it, time blocking. Yeah. You big time blocker?
So I'm big on time blocking, like big time.
Yep.
So I know my day inside and out. My day's changed over the years. So once upon a time, between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. is when I was most productive.
Yeah.
I still am most productive, but no one's going to agree with me. Between 5 and 7 a.m., I sit with my kids and watch TV.
See.
Every day.
I think that's the most productive thing you could do, man.
It's the most productive thing I can do. We sit, we watch TV together. This morning we played video games together. My kids get my first 2 hours of the day. Anyone's like, I get up out of bed and I hit the gym and then I meditate. I'm like, you're stealing early morning with your kids? You're a dick. As a kid, the best days of my life were waking up and watching morning TV. And I hated the fact that my parents didn't sit and watch morning TV with me. Me and my kids are currently watching Samurai Jack, and which is like, I've been getting them into like all the old cartoons I used to watch.
Yeah.
And I love it because I can go up to anyone. I got 5 kids. Any of my kids, I go, watcha.
Dude.
Who's back? Samurai Jack is great.
You changed my entire mindset around playing video games with my kids. Right? When we had that comment, I'm like, oh, these video games. You're like, no, man. Like, that's what they're into. Get into that shit. And I'll tell you now, I've got this one game on my phone. I sit there and it's like, it's that fiddle, like that fidget, whatever you do it.
Yeah.
Now it's like I'm battling my son on stuff. He's like, Dad, I'm kicking your ass.
Yes.
It's the best, right?
They want.
Yeah,
they want your time, right? So like me and my kids right now, it's me, my kids, and my wife, we're playing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Shredder's Revenge game every night. It's a 6-player game on Xbox. We're all playing on the same screen, running around. They're like, quick, I need a pizza next. Don't eat my pizza. Right? We're a whole team. And like, when we go through, I do the voices of all the characters in the cutscenes because they just write them on the screen. I'll be like, oh, yeah, that's right, turtles. We're going to take you down. And I like make the voices, and I'll be like, turtles, so Shredder will stop you. So I do all these dumb voices, and my kids are cracking. Do the next one, Dad. Right? Because that's what they're going to remember. They're not going to remember the fact that I worked out in the gym for an hour in the morning. They're going to remember that. They're going to remember that Dad was cool.
Dude.
So that's
no. But see, yes, we talk about time blocking though. I'm watching that because I know what's going on next. End of the day, how do you know it's been a successful day for you?
If I'm happy, and that's the easiest thing, right? If I'm happy, if my kids are happy, if my wife's happy, like I've won. Like yesterday was like a great day. I spent the morning watching TV with my kids, watched Samurai Jack, made them breakfast. Decided I wasn't going to work for the day because I couldn't schedule the time I needed for my dream meeting. And that was big, right? Like my dream meeting's happening tomorrow morning. So no point working yesterday. I just took the day off. I hung out with my kids like the whole freaking day. I think I did a couple of like phone calls that I had to do, but like I really didn't do anything important. I spent my day playing around with my kids. Oh my God, you're going to crack up. And just, I don't mind going over. I know I was strict on time, but I don't mind going over because I want to honor this. But I want to tell you something I do every day.
Yeah.
I have a crop top. I'm not wearing it right now, but I have a crop top that comes up to here.
Well, and thank you for not wearing it right now.
Yeah, no, I know. I thought about it. I contemplated it. But it says Gossip Club. Okay. And one of the things I realized in our companies, we have home staff. We hire a chef that cooks for our team every day. And I have a nanny that raises my kids, and she does their schooling. She's their tutor.
People got to understand. I think it's 5 kids.
5 kids, yeah.
5.
And so my office is in a building next door to my house, so I can throw a stone between the 2 buildings. So I'm always like, after this, I'm going to go home, see my kids, and that's like normal. My kids see me throughout the whole day. But I've got these 2 women, and we do staff training 1 day a month. All my staff come into an office, and I got told off by my nanny, rightly so. We'd probably done like 3 of these staff trainings, and my nanny was like, "Why don't you like me?" And I'm like, "Yo, you raised my kids. You're one of my highest paid staff members. What do you mean?" She goes, "Why don't I get to go to staff training?" I'm like, "You want to learn how to build websites and write copy?" She goes, "Bullshit. I came to work here because I wanted to learn from you, and you ignore me and leave me with your kids. You do a staff training that every staff member can come to, and I don't get to go?" And I'm like, first, I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
Second, you make a very good point. Third, you will come to every staff training. And so we now hire a temporary staff member to come in and look after the kids on that day so she can come to the staff training. And this has become really interesting because we like fired a video editor. And she's like, because it's all done on the phone, right? And she goes, "Well, I've got spare time. You want to pay me to edit on my phone while I'm hanging out with your kids?" And I'm like, "That's a great freaking solution because it's not a full-time job." I was like, that gets her extra pay. So stuff like that would never have come up. But to bring it to the point, so I've now realized the value of spending time with the staff I don't normally interact with. So when the food is cooked between 11 and 11:30 every day, I walk over and I gossip with the women who cook and look after the kids. It's like a team of 2 and me. And I sit and I'm like, "All right, ladies, what's going on?" And they're like, "Well, last week, Jennifer went on a date with," and it's their like personal life, right? Yeah. But I sit and I listen and I gossip and I hear all the stories and I give like advice like from a dude, And so the other day they went out and they bought me a crop top so I can be one of the girls. And it says like Gossip Club, right? And it was really funny because my wife said to me, she goes, "Why do you lose 15 minutes a day going over there and doing that every day?" I was like, those 2 women feed everyone in the company. And everyone in the company hands their plate over and sits and chats to them for 5 or 10 minutes as they do it. I know everything in our company. I know who's going on vacation, when and why. I know who's dealing with a breakup, whose car's broken. I know which of my staff members are struggling or thinking about quitting or are worried about pay. I know everything in the company because of these 2 young ladies. I was like, no, this is probably the highest value thing I can do in my day because everyone talks to these 2 women.
That's amazing.
That is how I know that I can stay happy, because nothing keeps me more in pulse. I know what's going on with my kids.
Yeah.
I know what's going on with my company.
Business, the people.
Yeah. And I can either sit in my office for 8 hours and work and try and work it out, or I can spend 15 minutes a day in Gossip Club and learn exactly what's happening from the two women who, by the way, love me, are super loyal to me, because I'm the one that sits and hangs out with them for 15 minutes every day.
You know, it's amazing how unscripted we naturally went full circle based on what I asked you off the top about walking into a room and having a magnetic personality where people are going to want to talk to you. Ah, you like it? You see how we did that?
Right? That was good. It was very well done.
Well played, man. You know, they want to talk, they want to share, but it really does come down to that. And I will say, to a nod about the middle part of the conversation today, that is the one thing I don't think AI is going to be able to replace us on. And so to everybody that is tuned in, the one thing to remember too is Adam's given us some amazing insights today about how to go ahead and leverage. And I love the concept around the dream room, the dream meeting, and sort of the Imagineers from Disney, but just kind of going through that process. So when we do sit back, because I think it was either Manoj or Atib, I think it was Manoj that said, you know, because I said, like, what's the first thing we could do? And he said, you know, what do you not want to do anymore? What do you not like doing? There's something out there to solve that. And I think that as we take the dream room, put that together, and put the idea of like what I don't want to do together, there are things that everybody can take away today that they can start to leverage things like AI, which today was not simply about AI, but they can start to leverage things like AI. They can have a blueprint that is going to help them grow their business and be sustainable for a long time to come. We got the option to go again, visit thesmartblueprint.com. And then there's that bottom line of, at the end of the day, in the world that we all work in, relationships and sales and being personable is huge. And that's whether you're introverted, whether you're extroverted. The reality is people need people. And the more that we interact the right ways with people, the more we're going to grow.
I agree 100%. And I think to just really echo what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
AI is going to take out the bottom 50%.
Okay. I like that. Cool.
Take you all out. It's going to take out the bottom 50%.
Yep.
If you want to win, you got to be the person that brings it in and learns it. That's going to be the difference, because that human component is going to matter, but it's going to be a very small component.
Give us some final words of wisdom here that everybody could do. You know, we did not get to talk too much enough about marketing today, but I mean, you know, the MindShare concept is very much about that. You know, you thought about cereal, you thought about Kellogg's cornflakes. We think about, you know, running shoes. We think about, well, you and I, we could think about yours, but you know, most people think about Nike or something like that. Everybody's got it. They're probably all wondering, what the fuck is he talking about with these running shoes? But anyways, final words of wisdom that you could share with anybody that they can get out there, build a lot more mind share to get that market share.
Yeah, I think, you know, I mean, obviously, just to summarize, I'm super approachable. It's actually me on Instagram, which is @theadamlyons. Come say hi on Instagram. Like, it's not a staff member. It is me. And the reason for that is because I don't do mass marketing. I like targeted, so I know that I'm talking to real people. So come and say hi. And for the actual marketing thing, like if you're sitting here right now and you're like, man, I just really want to make some cash and I'm really struggling, don't underestimate the power of just sending out, do you still need help with X? It's a very classic marketing line. And I would say we probably send it out 3 or 4 times a year. It always generates sales. Always. Like, you know, do you still need help with selling your property? Do you still need help with finding a home? Do you still need help with your love life? Do you still need help with getting into shape for the summer? Anytime you write that and you send it out, put it on social media, text it to everyone in your phone, a couple of people are going to reply, maybe a lot more. And then you can just get on the phone with them and sell them. And it's just a great way of making some cash.
Very cool. My man, thank you. This has been insightful. It has been inspiring. It's been fun. We'll have to do it again at some point for sure. But a big thank you for joining us on the MindShare podcast today. Adam Lyons, you are awesome, buddy. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, brother. You're either watching us live, you listen to this recording, maybe you're on your favorite podcast platform, maybe you went to my website, mindshare101.com. While you are there, be sure to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle, our 31-page ebook, including your free 90-day social media content calendar to help you build more mind share so that you can get more market share. A reminder as well that one-to-one coaching prices are going up. We're doing this on September 1st. We understand that August is a busy month, although we've only got about a week left. For those of you still on vacay, but you're going, wait a second, prices don't go up yet. I want to sign up. Get signed up now. We'll book that first call for even in September. No problem. But again, go ahead and lock in. Prices are going up September 1st. If you are planning an upcoming event, get in touch with my team. Let's talk about having me there as a keynote speaker, as well as, hey, if you want to talk about some ongoing virtual training, we can do that as well. For all inquiries, get in touch with us today. Reach out at mindshare101.com. Of course, don't forget to leave a review of this podcast at www.ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. Again, I've got that up on the screen for you as well. Connect with me on Facebook at mindshare101 and on Instagram at David Greenspan 101. I want to thank Kids Keep in Touch Systems as well as REM Real Estate Magazine for sponsoring this episode of the MindShare podcast. Check out our website, mindshare101.com, to see how these two powerful companies will help you grow your business. This has been another episode of the MindShare podcast. Thank you for tuning in.